Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Good morning. You mean to wish me a good morning, or do you mean that it is a good morning whether I want it or not?
Please go away. Let me speak for the love of
How's it going, everybody? Happy new week. Welcome to Good Movie Monday. This is the weekly podcast dedicated to nerdy cinematic ramblings. My name's Glenn Cochran. I'm the guy that runs through this same spiel every single week.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Ben is my co-host, but
Hello.
he's off working in New Zealand, of all places. So he's not here right now, but he will be swinging by shortly with Jarrett for that weekly PE class thing that they do. But so people that miss him, I'm not going to miss him.
Oh,
You
I
know?
hope not.
No. And he's,
Everybody writing in going, get him back, get him back.
also, he's going to be joining me later for the interview.
That's true,
you
that's
know?
true. So hold on until then.
More of that, because we do have a special guest on this show. But most importantly, Melsy Begg is here. Hello. From the Melbourne Horror Film Society. It's so good to have you back on the desk.
Thank you.
It's
Good to
always
be
fun.
here. Good to be here.
Now
new digs.
We record from a new digs now, and first off the bat, we have to say the drive sucks.
Oh,
The drive out here sucks.
it's so bad. I'm having to have a little tipple of Fireball right now, just because I walked in a pretty downcast mood. I started off the drive, the 2-hour something drive, like really up and about, and I was sending messages on the way, going yeah. Just got my hair did, so I'm feeling pretty fantastic. And then I just went downhill.
You walked in pretty aggro.
Downhill. Yeah. Let's be honest, I did.
You've managed to pick yourself up.
Yeah,
That's
always.
not a bad-
That's the good part of being really moody. I'm a really moody bitch, like you just like it's what goes down must come up.
I hope that doesn't apply to right now.
Oh no, definitely
Because
not.
it is very early in the morning for us to be
Oh
drinking.
yes, it is.
After
That's
all,
all right. Long weekend.
I mentioned that we have a guest on this show. I'm pretty excited for this one. But here's the deal. This one of the most controversial movies of this year, I think you would say, and the most ludicrous movies at the same time, is Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. So coming up a bit later, we're going to talk to the director and the writer of that one, Rhys Waterfield. So it's a really good chat. This movie's been getting all kinds of heat. It's protested all over the world, which is hilarious.
I only heard good things, but that's probably the circles that I run in.
I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on. I was a fan of it.
Yeah.
So hang around. We're going to talk to him about that. But welcome to our new listeners also. We love having new listeners on the show. It's always a I'm chuffed whenever we do. So we hope all of you get a kick out of this as much as we do.
Tell your friends.
Yep, we're on social media, so share us as well. Go and support us and what we do. Like, follow, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. I say it every week, but if you're a new listener, you don't know that.
Exactly.
Yeah. The show, we do lots of, what else do we do? Bonus video content every week on our social media pages. There's links and tabs to all that on our website, so go to goodmoviemonday.com and that's all you have to do. I also present another podcast midweek, which is Wednesday Up Late with Chloe Ritchie. It's a different kind of show to this one and a lot of fun, so if you like the sultry sound of my voice, maybe a Wednesday night fling is a good thing. But anyway, Melsy, we've got you here, so let's talk about Melbourne Horror Film Society.
Let's.
Firstly, we'll start off with where can people find it?
The socials,
Yeah.
not TikTok, but everywhere else. You can pretty much find us at Melbourne Horror. We've also got a Discord channel, community. I always, I never really know exactly if it's a channel or a...
Well, you know what?
I think it's a channel.
We haven't got Ben here right now, so you can say Discord comfortably.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
I can. Yes. And not be equated on, how do I get onto that? Well, I'll tell you anyway, just in case. Ben, if you're listening, we'll go through it again. Message us. And Ben, you'll most likely get me, so it's nothing to be scary of. Not that anybody else that runs the Melbourne Horror Film Society is at all concerning. But you can send us a message, get a link to the Discord. Lovely people on there. We've had a lot of giveaways, like movie giveaways lately. So we've had some that have been just for the Discord community.
Awesome.
And then on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and then our website is melbournehorrorfilmsociety.org.
Amazing. And anyone can be a member.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What have you got going on?
Well, so we have just done 2 screenings this month. We had The Uninvited last Tuesday night. It was another packed plus house.
I've noticed. It's amazing to see.
It was full, and then we put 6 seats, 6 seats out the front. So, yeah, great. I didn't stay for that one.
Oh, no.
Only because it's too upsetting. It's too amazing. It's too affecting. And I've seen it before, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But I just don't need to put myself through that trauma again. So
there's been a few that you've had to sit out.
Last 2, literally the last 2 screenings have been, and I'm like, and people are kind of probably like, and there have been quite a few new regulars new members the last 2 screenings. They're probably thinking, this girl. Actually, a funny one. So when I left the February screening, I think I walked out of the cinema white, traumatized, and there was a new guy working behind the bar. We do our Tuesday night screenings at Long Play in Fitzroy North, and there's kind of a new guy working behind the bar, and he was like, I mean, they just looked at me and they were like, "Oh, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Oh, not really." And then they may or may not have told me a little dodgy place to go to maybe get something to have a little outside smoko break. And then when I came back in, he was like, "Oh yeah, a few people told me what the movie was about tonight," and geez, it sounded. And I was like, "Yeah, it was too much for me, fucked me up." And he goes, "Oh, have you been to one of these before?" And I just kind of laughed. I went, "I'm one of the organisers." And he was like, "Oh."
That's hilarious.
It was very funny.
Far out.
I've been to a few, and I did know what was coming, and I knew that it was probably going to fuck me up. But anyway, so what's going to fuck me up less? Oh, also, our last screening at True North, we showed Phantasm, and it was my first time. It was my first Phantasm experience.
Let's talk about that for a moment. Yeah, what'd you think?
I didn't know at all what to expect. Like, I kind of knew, like, obviously I've seen, I kind of knew Tall Man and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't, for whatever reason, I didn't really think it was going to be
surreal
up my alley or something. I don't know why. I just hadn't really been attracted to it.
Sure.
Oh, I loved it. I loved everything about it.
Yeah.
And there were a few people there. I mean, quite a few people had seen it. A lot hadn't seen it for many years. One of the regulars came up to me afterwards and he was like, what did you think? And I was like, I loved it. And he was like, yeah, me too. And we both said the same thing. I didn't think I was really going to be into it. And the music, it was actually everything about it I loved.
Absolutely. And it's a really unique horror film because at that time, everything was trying to be like everything else.
Yeah.
And that film kind of stood out as something different.
Yeah.
It kind of does venture into the Nightmare on Elm Street realms, but probably more so in the sequels.
Yeah. Well, because, I mean, it predates Nightmare on Elm Street.
No, it does.
So,
but what I'm saying is that genre of fantasy, you got the other worlds and all this kind of stuff.
But he was like 22 years old or something like that when he made it.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
and there are some like hokey things about it or whatever, but it's incredible. Yeah, it's amazing,
fantastic low budget film, and as you probably know, for part 2, they put a massive budget into it.
Yes.
They recast the main character.
Yeah,
and then brought the original back for number 3.
I heard after the screening,
It's a fantastic
series. I'm gonna watch them all, definitely.
Yeah, cool.
It was awesome. I absolutely loved it.
Known in Australia at the time as The Never Dead.
Yeah. That's right,
good.
because I was making cracking some jokes with people when everyone was asked if they'd seen Phantasm. I'm like, if they'd seen The Never Dead, and I'm like, well, who's seen the Phantasm? The reason that it got called The Never Dead because of some like softcore porn.
Well, Phantasm, which I think Umbrella put out on DVD or Blu-ray.
Really?
Yeah. Yes. I actually wrote a script that I tapped into that kind of trend of that name, and I called mine The Nearly Dead.
Oh yeah.
All about old people. It's like it's a horror movie in a nursing home. Anyway, I digress.
Anyway, so what we have coming up.
Yes.
On Saturday, April 15th, so this is back at True North in Coburg, I'll be showing Dead and Buried. from
Amazing.
1981,
Great
which
one.
is like one of my, I absolutely love it. I was kind of put on the spot at the Phantasm screening to pick one. And I was like, oh, well, yeah, but that's something that I'm like, really the only thing that I can think of with like that I don't have to rewatch. I don't, like I'm just 100% certain on it. But anyway, but I've gone from I wasn't going to be attending the next screening to now I've chosen it and I have to present it. But anyway, that's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine. So that's directed by Gary Sherman. And then on Tuesday, April 22nd, so it's not the last Tuesday of the month because that's Anzac Day, so the Tuesday before, we'll be showing Tales of Terror from 1962. So directed by Roger Corman, starring Vincent Price and Peter Lorre.
Amazing.
And yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah,
That's super fun.
It's a real good retro screening. That
Yeah.
one. Yeah, wicked.
Yeah.
So before we just give that website one more time before we move on.
MelbourneHorrorFilmSociety.org.
There you go. So pencil those in, people. Let's throw to you. Want to sit out for this next one because
Sure.
I think Jarrett and Ben are going to come in and have a chat. Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is a fun episode, don't you reckon? It's always fun having Melsy on the desk, but this is where I actually stop and talk about Newsly. Got a spruik it. They support us, so let's support them. It is the super app. Get it on your phone by now. I assume you all listen to us through the Newsly app, but if you don't, then please do. So it's a super app, and it not only do you listen to all the podcasts, but you can listen to all the news from around the world. It takes the highest trending news articles from around the world, over 80 countries, in fact, and it will curate them to your liking, whether it's current affairs, music, it could be theatre, it could be religion, it could be politics, whatever. Newsly has you covered. It's a free app. But here's the beauty. You can get an entire month of free premium service. That's an extra thing they do, and we have a code for you. So if you go to newsly.me, punch in the code Monday without the O, so MNDAY, get yourself an entire month of free premium service. You won't regret it. And now we can get on with the show. More drink for me.
Let's do it.
All right. Even when you're not on the show, Ben, you're never far away from the mic. How you going, mate?
Good, mate. Good. How are you? How are things in sunny Melbourne?
I don't know if I'd call it that right now, but not too bad. How are things over there in the land of the long white cloud?
It's good. Good. Like the weather has been outrageously good. I did not pack appropriately.
What about you, Jared? Jared is here, by the way, for his PE class. How are you, sir? He can't hear me.
Oh, hey, there you go. Yeah, no, the old earbuds are cutting out, and I could literally hear Ben down the hallway talking, and I'm like, I think this is my time to chime in. But yeah, I don't know. The internet's not so great. I don't know if it's New Zealand as a whole or whether it's just in fact the Airbnb in which we're staying. But
did you just call New Zealand a whole?
No, as a whole.
Oh,
Not the whole. No, it's a beautiful, beautiful place full of exceptional talent and the occasional good find at a thrift store.
Excellent. Now, before we launch into the whole PE class part of this segment, have you guys seen the what's going on over at the Blockbuster website?
Yeah, so they're going to potentially open a few new actual outlets again in Los Angeles and New York, was it?
I don't know what's going on. Is that what it is? Is it an online service?
No, I think what I read like about a week ago, which was rumored, is that they were potentially actually opening some bricks and mortar stores once again. But in key locations, so obviously Los Angeles and New York. But yeah, it's an interesting turn, but as to whether they decide that they'll go digital as well and offer a service that's already offered by Apple, Google, every other, current VOD platform. But I mean, if they do a bricks and mortar thing, that's terrific, because it almost feels like we're at a time where you could bring these stores back and they could be renting boutique label stuff, because this stuff carries such a premium sort of ticket price. You can't blind buy everything, so having the opportunity to buy and try before you buy could be fantastic.
And then
I was going to say, the only problem with it would be when those things sell out from the boutique labels, people are going to start pinching them from the video library.
Yeah, they might have to do that $100 deposit thing again, on certain titles.
And in similar news, like now that Sanity have closed all of their stores, their online presence is turning into an Amazon kind of thing where you can buy lampshades and shit like that.
Ah, that's terrific. There you go.
Right.
Yeah, diversifying the business. I guess if you're just operating out of a warehouse and even doing drop shipments from other companies, it's possible to do virtually anything. But yeah, it's strange to think that the only main competitor outside of Amazon is Sanity to JB within Australia, and the only one that's got a bricks and mortar store is JB. So yeah, what that spells, hopefully with Sanity going online, they might be able to do more retailer exclusives and things of that nature. Fingers crossed, because keep the physical media alive as long as possible here in Australia, and offer unique product as well.
That would certainly help this segment.
Oh, fucking oath. Otherwise, it's what's hot on home entertainment in the United States this week.
Take it away, sir.
Well, I just want to raise some news, some titles that are coming out. Now, Paramount's going to be releasing Scream 6, and they're going to be releasing it on 4K, Blu-ray, and DVD, so it's good it's actually getting a 4K release. I mean, this movie's made mega money. It's the most successful film in the franchise at the box office to date now, which is incredible, considering it's the 6th installment. Of course, other franchises like Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, they were pretty much on their last legs by the time they got to their 6th installment, and the budgets for each film got significantly reduced as the grosses at the box office reduced. But in this case, they just keep upping the budget on this one. Hopefully with Scream 7, they're able to afford to pay Neve Campbell the rate she deserves to come back and do the movie.
Maybe it proves she's not needed.
Well, I don't know, man. There was something missing from 6. I really enjoyed it, but I don't know. There was something missing, and I kind of have a love-hate thing with Neve Campbell. I think it dates back to Party of 5. But anyway, that's hitting all the formats June 7th. And then hitting home entertainment that very same date is that new dinosaur actioner with Adam Driver, 65. And Sony are actually going to release that on 4K, Blu-ray and DVD as well. So it's good because at least Sony seem to be one of those few labels out there that are still giving a chance to 4K Ultra HD. Even if the film hasn't performed exceptionally well at the box office, they're willing to give it another chance on home entertainment. So hats off to them. And then the last one,
Ben was talking about wanting to see 65 before he left for New Zealand. Did you get a chance to, mate?
I did not. No.
Oh, bugger.
No.
And he had a free double pass and everything. But you pretty much worked ragged leading up to New Zealand, and between both of us, we'd had one day off between finishing like a 6-day working week and then going into another 6-day working week.
It.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think we've done 13 days straight?
Something like that, yeah.
Damn,
so we were trying to work out when we had a day off, because we've been not only doing the monster thing and not only shooting behind the scenes of a film here in New Zealand, but then we've been working on some special features for a release that we can't talk about yet. But next week we can fully talk about, because the label that's releasing is going to announce it tomorrow on Tuesday. As far as we know, I think that's the plan. So next week we can tell you all about it and tell you way more than they're likely to let you in on. But yes, 65. Haven't had a chance to see it yet, but it's good that it's coming out in all the formats. I definitely want to check it out. It looks a bit like Leave Your Brain at the Door, fun, sort of sci-fi. And then June 21st, the 4th installment in the John Wick franchise is coming out on home entertainment, John Wick Chapter 4. And again, it's getting released on 4K, Blu-ray and DVD. So it's glorious to be talking about 3 upcoming releases that are actually going to get released on all the formats, not just DVD. So yeah, some things to be excited about in the foreseeable future, and all new release films as well. But as for this week, guys, what is coming out this week on home entertainment? Ben, a release that you've been sweating on. It's been available from the Umbrella web store, but now it's gone to retail. It's in stores across Australia. It is Box of Bert. Take it away.
Well, I think I've talked about it a couple of times on the show before. This contains 5 films on 4 discs. Comes in a lovely box set. It does feature inside, in a couple of places, lovely naked Bert Reynolds. The films in the box set include Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, Cannonball Run 1 and 2.
The The Man Who Loved Women.
Stroker Ace, and The Man Who Loved Women. In my head, I was going to say Six Pack, but that's a different car racing movie.
That's Kenny Rogers, isn't it?
Kenny Rogers, yeah. No Bert in sight.
Give us a Kenny Rogers box set umbrella.
Yeah.
Gambler. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You got to know how to
And
open them.
six-pack.
Yeah. And
The funny
six-pack.
thing is that in Stroker Race, he gets sponsored by Ned Beatty's Chicken Company, and then later on, Kenny Rogers would open Kenny Rogers Chickens, which is kind of what the Ned Beatty thing is, kind of a joke, a piss take off. Anyway,
How meta.
how meta, yeah.
Stroker,
and so each release
Stroker
is,
Ace chokes his chicken.
Each release is jam-packed full of extra features. We've got that comes with a fancy pants booklet that was all written by John Harrison, a friend of ours. There's video essays, one of which you, Jarrett, edited on the cross-country races. That's on the Cannibal Run discs.
From sea to shining sea.
That's right. There is audio commentaries from Mondo Digital's Nathaniel Thompson. Adam Devlin does a commentary for us. Craig Safola, on YouTube, I think he goes by the name of Gator McCluskey, which is actually one of Burt Reynolds' characters
Yeah.
in the film Gator and White Lightning. He does a whole bunch of making ofs, which are fascinating and hilarious. They're really well put together. So it's jam-packed full of stuff. It comes with a bumper stick if you buy it from the Umbrella web store, that is. If you get it from JB, you just get the box. But if you buy it from the Umbrella web store, you get a bumper sticker and a air freshener that, from what I understand, we said it was the musky smell of Burt, but I'm not actually sure what it smells like. As of yet, I have not actually received my copy, so I'm not really sure what the air freshener smells like. But it comes with a couple of posters. It's a fantastic release. The response to it on the internet has been phenomenal.
Yep.
And hopefully it leads to a box of Burt 2.
That'd be amazing. That would be amazing. So that's it?
Endless boxes of Burt. No, there's a couple other releases coming out. Of course, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey's hitting Blu-ray and DVD. You've just done an interview recently with Rhys. And
He's on today's show.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. And are you in on that interview too, Ben? Is it the three of you together?
Yeah.
I certainly am, and I think from memory in that interview, all the three of us are looking in different places.
Yeah, we are.
We talk to each other.
I do remember. I did an interview with Rhys, and he'd set it up, and he's like talking like this the entire time.
Well,
he's like, "You using the video?" No.
Well, that video that we recorded went up online a month ago, but the audio is dropping into the show just to help push the home release sale. We'll also have some people behind that new Grinch horror movie later on in the year, Ben.
Ah, yeah, right.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, the guy that plays Art the Clown in Terrifies in that one, so he'll be on the show and we'll get a few others.
Awesome. And then the last one I want to mention that's coming out from Umbrella is the Young Guns 1 and 2 double packs. They're both films together.
Pew pew,
in
damn.
a budget price release, which is quite nice. And then the only other distributor that's worth mentioning releasing titles this week's Viavision, and they're putting out a Michael J. Fox triple set of some classics. The Secret of My Success, The Hard Way, which I love, and then the last one, For Love or Money, or as it was known in Australia, The Concierge.
Yes.
And then the other release they're putting out is Mr. Baseball on Blu-ray and DVD with everyone's favourite Tom Selleck, the other chap with a beautiful mustache from the 1980s. And that was directed by Fred Skepsey as well.
Yeah,
so
it was,
cool.
and they've kept that original poster art on the DVD, which I like.
Yeah, I like it too. I'm definitely due to rewatch that one for sure. I want to pick up that Michael J. Fox set because I've got The Hard Way on Blu-ray, but I'd probably need the other two on Blu-ray. Because what was the name of the female lead from The Concierge, Ben? She was from Scent of a Woman, wasn't it?
Yeah, Gabrielle Anwar from Invasion of the Body Snatchers and Press
Burn
Gang
Notice.
And Burn Notice, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely... And from memory, she's a high-class escort and he's a bellboy, isn't he?
He's the concierge. She's
no, I just but how better a film would that be?
Yeah.
The For Love or Money would have made sense as a title.
Yeah. She's very classy. She just happens to be banging a married man. who's a lot older than she is. A tale as old as time.
Beautiful. But that's it. That's all the releases that are worth talking about this week on home entertainment. And yeah, look, to be honest, there's quite a few I want to grab. I've got a box of Burt waiting back at home in Australia, and I can't wait to get into it because I honestly haven't seen some of those films for many years, and I really want to check out all the special feature content and pour through the booklet. It's like a 32-page booklet. It's beautifully designed. It looks like a fanzine or something. Who put that together? Was that a Matt O'Neill sort of production, or?
It certainly was. Yeah. Matt and I put that together to make it look like a fanzine. That's exactly correct.
Yeah.
I do want to say, just going back to the concierge and / for love of money. If it wasn't for attractive younger women wanting to sleep with you when you're older and have a lot of money, there'd be no point to either getting older or earning a lot of money.
No,
You just wouldn't bother. I know
End it now.
I know it's not politically correct, but you might as well kill yourself when you're 30. What's the point?
Yeah, because this DVD collection's not going to sell it.
Yeah.
Check out my box of Burt.
It's musky. All right, lads, I'm going to let you get on with your day and we'll get on with the show. Yeah, keep enjoying yourselves over there.
Awesome, will do. See you, mate.
Will do.
All right, Melsy, right, you're back.
I'm back.
So Jarrett was talking at one point there about Scream 6. This is a good opportunity for us to talk about Scream 6.
Isn't it? Because we didn't get to.
No, so
Yeah.
you did come to the screening with Ben and I. It's
I
been out for
did.
quite a while now. In fact, as Jarrett was saying, it's going to be hitting home entertainment soon.
Yeah.
But it is the highest grossing in the entire franchise.
Yeah.
It's the first one that shifts to a different location.
Yeah.
Like a major different
Canada.
location.
Yeah. Like every good Friday the 13th in Manhattan does.
That's right. So, but supposedly it's in New York. You don't see much of New York in it.
No.
But I so appreciated that change.
Yeah.
I think to me that made all the difference.
Yeah, no, it was,
Because in my mind I was in New York.
Yeah.
Whether it looked like New York or
Well,
not.
I mean, it's pretty much only in which
Subway,
Jason Takes
yeah.
Manhattan did the same thing, but it's the alleyways that fuck it up because New York doesn't have alleyways.
Yeah, not only that, the subway when it's that obvious too. Like it's like,
it
well,
looked
we've
like
really got to kind of have a hallmark.
Yeah,
here.
but I mean, what a set piece though.
Yeah.
That scene was incredible.
So I really, really like this.
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
I really did, and I like it more now in retrospect than I did when we saw it.
Oh, it's funny that you say that.
Yeah, same with you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, but I mean, as I've spoken about on the podcast before. Part 5 was a Scream 2022 or whatever,
which had
was
the V, had the V.
it
in the
had
sort of
every
title,
opportunity to be a 5, but anyway, I was so emotionally impacted by that and bawled my eyes out because I had such a connection with the original characters. But in saying that, I loved all the new characters and I didn't think that anyone should come back. Like, I didn't think that the original should come back. I thought it was their perfect ending.
Handball.
They passed the baton, literally and figuratively. And so in saying that, it was my goodbye to them, which I mean, it ended up being 2 out of 3 correct. And I must say, and I didn't think that any of them should have come back because I thought, no, we need to give
I
it.
agree.
But I think that, and there were a couple of questionable things, and that's probably why. So seeing this one, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed it so much. But I was also a little bit like, there were some script parts and there was some,
They had
I was like, but not, it wasn't in a detracting way or it was still so much fun. And even though I didn't think Courtney Cox needed to come back, she was great.
Yeah.
She was, and that scene in her apartment, she was incredible. And she did her own stunts as well. And so she said it was like one of the best experiences that she's had making a Scream
Amazing. I was
movie.
saying on the night, she looks a lot like Ghostface now. But no, she was.
You're like, who's coming for who?
she was a welcome return, and she now
She was
essentially
great.
she has become the carryover sort of lifeblood of the series more than Neve Campbell.
Yeah.
Right? And Jarrett was saying he missed Campbell not being in this one. Right?
Really?
I didn't. I kind of think
Yeah.
this was better without her. in
Well, I just think that it was the perfect. Oh yeah, when what Courtney Cox had to say about she's not coming, she's not coming, or whatever. I was like, that was a bit like
Well, I know
lame.
that
But
a lot of the things in the script you had a problem with were because she didn't come
it
back.
was,
And it
yes,
at the last minute.
100%. And that's when I said that at the time as well. It's like what they got on the screen.
Yeah.
Considering, and as I also said, pretty much all of them have
Yeah,
had these
yeah.
sort of things happening with them, with having to change the script and change the plot and change the killer up until,
Yep.
So it's nothing new for a Scream movie, but having thought that she was coming back, which I didn't think she should, but and then her not, massive. That's huge.
Yeah.
But I loved it. Like
Yeah,
I
good.
loved set pieces, the characters,
The humour was amazing.
the
And
humour.
I think the other thing too is what they did with the humour in this one, because I think it had a different tone to all the
Yes.
others.
Yep.
Every one of these films kind of subverts the genre. It's very meta, all that, almost meta, like it's very self-referential, all that kind of stuff. This one had all the same jokes, but told differently.
Yeah.
And they just felt fresh for some reason.
Yeah.
And I think having a new generation playing on the older generation,
Yeah.
and how lame they were back then,
Yeah.
yet it's the same.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
That I found amusing.
Hayden Panettiere was awesome.
Yeah.
She was Dermot Mulroney. Oh my god,
He was great.
Talk about hamming it up. It was so hilarious. Wow. It was they were having a fucking good time.
They certainly were.
They were having a great time, and it was a great. And but as you said, I kind of was like, that was awesome. And how many times did I cry?
Once, didn't you?
I wiped a little.
borderline,
I wiped a
borderline.
little tear once. So
And that was dust.
I had the biggest hanky you've ever seen in your entire life. Not even
Yeah.
really a hanky. It's like a.
Mind you, you were sandwiched between me and Ben, weren't you?
I was.
Yeah, so you
the
kinda-
meat in the sandwich. Was I a Melsy sandwich or a
You were
Ben
the-
and?
You were the M in the Good Movie Monday.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we've had.
But yes, but as the week went on, every day
Yeah.
of the next week, I fell in love with it
Yep.
more and more and more, and I love
I'm not gonna
love
lie.
it.
I'm not gonna lie. It's my favorite sequel of the franchise.
Yeah, yeah.
It really is. It's just
Yeah.
it's different enough to be fresh.
And I can completely
You're on
respect
board?
that.
You're on board,
Like
yeah.
I'm not gonna say I agree.
Yeah, but you
because
understand
I
it.
love them so much, but I totally understand it.
Yeah,
Yep.
There we go. So
Yep.
there we are.
Great.
We've had that discussion.
We have now.
which takes gives us less time for the next part of the show. But this is where we normally just do a bit of random banter. But Ben and I often spin a wheel, talk about whatever it lands on, which is essentially a
Spin that wheel. Spin the bottle. We're now having a cruiser.
yes. That's funny. I was just trying to think. We've got a song coming up, and is it by the same people? Who sang "Spin That Wheel"? Your DJ, spin that wheel. Who was that? I don't know. We have Technotronic coming up.
Oh, okay, no, it's
No,
not
it's
them.
not them. Okay, cool. Anyway, so spin the wheel is essentially like Lucky Dip, and that's what we're going to do. Lucky Dip. We don't do the Lucky Dip videos anymore. Have you noticed
No,
that?
I have.
Yes,
And
so-
I was always really terrible at them. So.
So well, let's do it now then. You can go first. I think we've only really got time for one each, but
Okay.
there you go. We've got a jar full of movie titles. They're all horror.
For anybody playing along at home, it was High Tech 3 song Spin That Wheel.
There's tech,
from the-
there's tech in the title.
Yeah, there is from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles soundtrack.
Yeah, cool turtle.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Dr. Sleep.
Doctor Sleep. Have you seen it?
No.
Okay, well we can move
because
on
I
to another
need
one.
to. I want to rewatch.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a.
Okay, my advice to you with Doctor Sleep is if you're able to go for the director's cut straight away.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
better. It's 3 hours long, but it's
Yeah.
a better
Oh, see
movie.
again. That's another.
I know.
That's why these things get put on the.
But
back
it is
burner,
a
'cause
better version than the
Yeah.
theatrical
Okay.
cut.
Okay.
Go
cool.
again because
Alright,
you don't get
alright,
to talk about
alright.
that. But I love it. Doctor Sleep.
How many times will I have to pick up until a few? Survival of the Dead.
Do you want to talk about that? Or?
I don't know.
Okay, that's the George Romero's last zombie film.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
saw Diary of the Dead, but I wrote like an
Did
essay
you know
on that.
that's got Tarantino in it?
Is it?
He's the voice of one of the radio announcers.
Oh.
Yeah. I like that one. It's the handheld one, the found footage version of. Everyone hates it. Like,
Yeah, I didn't like it,
Yeah,
but I
I
mean,
do.
I
I think
obviously
in a way, it was kind of behind the time and ahead of its time because behind the time in that it was one of the last movies to do the found footage thing, right? It had been flogged to death, but at the same time, putting that in a zombie environment.
Yeah, but you know what I think it was the characters and the and writing teenagers, or whatever the hell
I
they
don't know
were.
what it was that appealed to me because I don't like found footage movies, right?
Yeah.
And yet I like this one. I just think it was putting that subgenre in that subgenre.
Yeah.
And,
that did work
being
well.
an old man doing it.
Yeah, but I think that's where
went wrong?
that's where the script and stuff goes, and not
Glenn,
R.I.P.
Your opinion sucks.
R.I.P. Would never want to speak ill of
But then
George
he came
Romero.
back to Survival of the Dead one you just pulled out.
Yeah.
Takes it right back to the original concept of a farmhouse. But it's on an island. And anyway, we ended up talking about that.
We did. We did. Do you want to pick out one?
Yeah.
I guess it's your turn. Would you like? I'm in your home.
So
would you like to?
Does that
have
class
a turn?
that class as a conversation, or do you want another go? All right, let's see.
Depends
what
what you pull out.
All right, a weird one. Nightbreed.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh fucking hell! Put that on at the Melbourne Horror Film Society.
Oh, yeah?
You will fill the house. Like, book out the MCG for that one. Like, you'll pack it. It's great. What can I say when you haven't seen it though? Clive Barker, David Cronenberg's in it, Craig Schiffer, and I met Jarrett at the Nightbreed Director's Cut screening.
No way!
Because when the Director's Cut came out, it was a very big deal. It didn't have an official release. It was almost like a bootleg, if you will.
Yeah.
And they screened it at the backlot, the old backlot, the old version. I was there, and I was down waiting in line to go to the toilets. Some guy just came up to me and goes, "Glenn." I'm like, "Yes." Look at him. He goes, "You're that fake Shemp guy." I'm like, "Yes, I am." And he goes, "My name's Jarrett." And now here we are still working together. And, he's on the show every week. Nightbreed.
Even flying in from New Zealand for it.
Yeah, New Zealand. You've just picked out about 100 fucking movies from this jar.
I know.
You have to fold them all back up. Thank you very much.
I will.
Hey, how about go for this one? This is another container that has more mainstream horror films. Like franchises.
No, I mean, I've actually seen I've seen some of these, but I'm just like, I can't really remember it. I've got to really, I haven't got the best
That goes against the whole gist of this segment.
Yeah, I know. Well, I know.
Thank God we had Scream to talk about.
Exactly. Why do you think I messaged you to talk about it?
Go on, what's that?
Oh, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, there you go. From the other container.
Well, actually, in saying that, I just watched Freddy vs. Jason.
Oh, there you go.
Last week.
Because you had gone through all of the...
Because I've gone through all the Friday the 13th. And I actually went through all of the Nightmare on Elm Streets as well, apart from Freddy vs. Jason, because when I got up to that, I started the...
Yeah.
Oh, because we had the screening as well in January. And so we were up to Freddy vs. Jason.
I'll say off the bat, didn't like it.
Yeah.
But over the years, I've grown more
Yeah,
to it.
right. Yeah,
It's a movie that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, well, I mean, it took like 16 years.
No, but I mean, it just shouldn't have happened. Like, I don't think those two characters should have ever been in the same universe.
Yeah,
it was.
Well, Sean S. Cunningham would definitely. He pretty much only made Jason X just to, and multiple others just for the pure purpose of we need to make Freddy vs. Jason, and then it finally happened.
It's fan service, purely fan service.
Yeah.
And I don't think you should ever make a film just for fan service purposes. I don't think Robert Englund was a fan of this one either. But anyway, over the years, I can watch it and enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not great.
It came at a time too when both franchises had delved into digital effects, right?
Oh, yeah.
And, like prior to
absolutely.
that, Freddy Krueger and Jason were both practical.
Yeah.
You know?
And the things that they do practically in it look so much better than the CGI.
And the final wink to the camera is the worst.
Yeah. Terrible. And oh god, and the main chick with the boobs and
and Kelly Rowland's in that one?
Yeah, saying some controversial things. Which then they've just hung her out to dry and said that she ad-libbed it.
Oh, right. That's
Which,
hilarious.
you know, I can't imagine that Kelly Rowland would have had lived that. But anyway.
You'll have to remind me after we've stopped recording.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so, what was it, 2003?
Yeah.
So 2003. Just the blue, like, you know, just that look. That
Around about
look
the same
of,
time that Bride of Chucky came out, and that had the same kind of
the same
aesthetic.
director. It's the same director.
Ronnie Yu.
Yeah.
Ronnie Yu,
Yeah.
yes.
But he's not a fan of either franchise.
No.
So,
He was a gun for hire.
yeah.
He was famous at that time for Warriors of Virtue, and that was a good movie. But
Yeah.
like martial art fantasy, like, you know, to put him in the horror world.
Yeah. But
I
then
know.
Bride of Chucky's great.
Bride of Chucky is great, but it's also the movie I kind of wish didn't happen. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
right.
like where the
Where it
direction the
went
franchise
to.
went from that.
Yeah.
It opened the door to too much comedy.
Yeah.
know?
But was that him or was that the...
I don't know. It's
Don't know.
probably
And
John
who knows
Mancini.
how much, and also who knows how much of this was him as well,
Well,
because
yeah.
that's potentially why.
I'd say it was Don Mancini with Chucky took it in the new
Well,
direction.
he has a lot of power in.
But like
that.
Ronnie Yu as a director, he's got an eye for style.
Yeah.
Right? Like I obviously every week I talk about Albert Pune. I put them in the same camp in that they're style over substance.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I like style over substance when the
Yeah.
style is that nice.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing, and I mean, it's a victim of its time
Yeah,
period
totally.
because all of so many of the horrors had that look. It's
Yeah.
too glossy for
Yeah.
either franchise.
Correct.
Like it needed more of the 80s
Mind you,
feel.
Alexis Arquette in Bride of Chucky is the best.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Cool. Well,
But
there we go.
yeah. So, but A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, yeah, I
Like,
forgot about that.
Well, I mean, we were, it is a franchise because I had to revert to the franchise pile.
Originals,
I mean,
just masterpiece.
it's amazing, and I watched them all
Hmm.
last year, I think it was, and I loved 4. I mean, I actually loved 1 to 4.
I'll tell you this.
I
don't-
loved
up
1 to 4.
of the original franchise,
Yeah.
which goes to number 7.
Yeah.
I love them all.
Yeah, I was going to
Even-
say, and I
even number
actually
6.
really enjoyed them all,
Yeah.
but I like, yeah.
I think
I really did.
My favourite sequel's number 3.
Yep.
That's where Wes Craven came
Yeah,
back.
yeah. And it's so many people, it's
a
their
clever,
favourite.
clever movie.
Yeah.
It's the darkest
It
of them.
is. It's
And it-
really good.
It taps into the history of Nightmare on Elm
Yeah.
Street. Number 2, I love simply because my theory on number 2 sequels, they're ballsy enough to go in a different direction because they don't want to repeat the formula.
Totally.
And then number 3's always swoop in and repeat the
Yes,
formula. To
yes, and
regain-
like
bring it back.
because everybody that was pissed off about number
Yeah.
2.
So that's why I love number 2.
Yeah,
But then
I love number 2.
You skip all the way to number 7. That is a genius film because it's all meta and outside of
Yeah,
the franchise looking
yeah.
in. Oh, just the best.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you picked that out of the
Yeah, there we go. The Yogo container should be my go-to, I think,
Let's,
from now on.
How about now we can have some Technotronic?
Pump up the jam, pump it up while your feet are stumping. And the jam is pumping. Look ahead, the crowd is jumping. Pump it up a little more, get the party going on the dance floor. See, 'cause that's where the party's at, and you find out if you do that. Pump up the jam, pump it up while your feet are stumping. And the jam is pumping.
Place to stay.
I know why I picked that one. I'll talk about it in a sec. Alright, so that was Pump Up the Jam by Technotronic. And by the way, Melsy's still folding up all of those movies and putting them back in the jar.
Pump up the
Yeah,
jam.
and it's a jam jar. It's
is
a jam jar.
It is.
So put them back in the jam jar. Reason I chose Pump Up the Jam is because it's from the movie Breaker Upperers, which is a New Zealand film, and that's where Jarrett and Ben are. So just a little homage to them. But speaking of Ben, he's going to join me right now because we've got our interview with Rhys Waterfield. Let's talk about Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Boy, this movie is pissing people off, and I want to talk about that for a second because it's the same old bullshit, right? You've got people that have come out and they've said stuff to the effect of, "You've ruined my youth. You've ruined a classic," which I find fucking hilarious, right? Because one, I mean, how can that be true? Because the original still exists.
Yeah.
And they can watch it at any point in time.
And why would they watch this if they were going to have that reaction?
The other thing is, presumably those people are talking about the Disney version, right?
Yeah.
Now, the criticism that the Disney version had when that came out was it changed the book.
Oh.
And Disney ruined Winnie the Pooh.
Oh.
So, come on.
Yeah.
Because they put the badger or the gopher in it, and that's
Yeah,
not a
yeah,
Winnie the
yeah,
Pooh.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
secondly, Disney have not come after this filmmaker. Like, they don't give a shit that this movie exists, so why should people, you know? Anyway, I love this movie. It is batshit crazy. It's ultra violent. It's super gory. It's a splatterfest, and yet the director couldn't be more lovely. He's
Yeah,
just, you know,
really.
he's like a British chap. You know, he's
Love
great.
that.
So we're going to talk to him. Ben and I caught up with him recently. Some of you will have already pointed out the fact that we've had this video online for a month. So we did put the video out there of the interview because the interview was recorded while we were on our summer break. And so I still wanted to include it on the show, and that's what this is. So let's go to some Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Enjoy. We'll see you on the other side.
Mate, Rhys, how are you?
Hello, guys. You all right? Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
I'm going to be like completely sincere with you right now when I say I fucking love this movie. Like, Winnie the Pooh does not give a fuck.
Did you see it recently then?
I did. And dude, it's violent, it's gory, it's gratuitous, it's original, like just a hell of a lot of fun. So yeah, thank you.
Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, we've it's pretty kind of, it was a pretty risky film, and I know it's like the concept alone divides people, but also how I directed it is also dividing people. Because like I kind of I've been saying, like, I like kind of like grounded and elevated horror to an extent, but I also really love horror which is just like, it's just silly and it's just fun and it's ridiculous, and you don't need to look for these like deep metaphorical undertones or anything like that. It's just crazy stuff happening and you're just watching it for horror's sake, really. And that was the direction I took this, because I thought, you know, it's Winnie the Pooh, people want to watch like a crazy just Winnie the Pooh film killing people. So
yeah, and it's absolutely bonkers. And like, if you put that kookiness aside though, I was particularly struck with how seriously you did approach the horror, because you could just remove Pooh and Piglet and have hillbillies and it would be a respectable, you know, slasher/horror movie.
Yeah, yeah. There were definitely moments where it was like with the tone of it, I was kind of like, um, really, I was going heavy into like the silly and the fun side of it, but there is still a kind of moments where you kind of go in and out of like the story parts of the film, really, where he's not just gorging himself on honey. And those they had to be a bit more. I had to take them more down the serious route. So for me, like the opening of the film is quite serious, and then there's a moment where he has all the flashbacks, and then kind of near the end it gets serious. So it kind of dips in between that, and then your kind of journey's in the middle. He's just doing crazy, fun, silly stuff. So
Yeah.
I am really curious. At the start of the film, like there is like that's where you kind of do the exposition of the plot, and you talk about how. I hope I'm not spoiler alert, even though it does happen in the first like 2 minutes of the film. But the after Winnie the Pooh and Co are abandoned, and they make the decision, they're starving, and they make the decision to cannibalize Eeyore. Was that why Eeyore? Why not Piglet? Like that bacon. Like I've never had donkey. I don't know what donkey's going to taste like.
Yeah, he might have had more meat on him.
Yeah.
So the kind of idea behind Eel was, yeah, it was intentional that I picked him out of the lot because one, he's really gloomy and he's really, and everyone's saying he should just top himself. So I was like, I'll help him. and then the other reason was it was actually kind of like a budgetary and like a filmmaking reason. I thought, I didn't have a lot to work with, like resource-wise, to make the film, and I was trying to think how you would like effectively show Eeyore on the film, and my mind was going, okay, you could do it in VFX and you could have like a VFX donkey running around, but I thought that might be weird because none of the other characters are VFX, and also because of the budget, it would probably look absolutely rubbish, and horror fans don't like VFX anyway. So I was like, right, maybe I won't do that. And then the other option was like, if I was to try and make this like a live action version, am I going to have two guys in a donkey outfit like running around on the set? And
kind of would
do you know
be
what I mean? And I thought, no, that's going to be terrible. So I thought, he just needs to die. I'm just going to slaughter him at the start, and then it's like that's why he's not there.
I mean,
Whereas
that is
all the others could be like
the most
hybrids.
Yeah, it's the most heartbreaking part of that exposition, though, Ben, is the fact that he's.
Oh yeah, because he's such a sad sack that you do feel for him. But totally in the cartoons and stuff of Winnie the Pooh, by the end of it, you're like, oh, you just kill yourself.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, speaking of that, I guess everybody's first thought when they caught wind of this movie was, the Disney factor. And I know it's not exclusively a Disney property and the literature is public domain, but was there any kind of pushback from Disney at all when you dropped the trailer or the poster?
No, there wasn't actually. So we kind of was wondering like what was going to happen with that. Like, were they going to approach us with it? And we did think that maybe it will be at the point when the trailer drops because they might be curious what's in the trailer or so. But I think the reason they haven't is because like I've purposely kind of gone as far away from their branding and their IP as I could. When it was, even though it's in the public domain, and really you could try and skirt as close towards them as you could, or some people would, and you would do it just outside the line, and then there could be arguments of are people going to mistake your view of him and your interpretation of him with their one. But for me, I thought, okay, I need to forget all of that, like when I was writing this, forget everything Disney have done, make up my own view and my own interpretation of him, and then just make sure there's no link there at all, because I don't want there to be kind of any confusion. And also, like, we're only, our production company, and it's me and Scott. There's like two of us, and Disney have theme parks and like all this IP and like loads of money. Like, I'm sure if they wanted, they could probably just trample on us, and just like tie us up in litigation and stuff. So I was like, okay, let's just be safe, go really, really far away. And I also think it's better for just the horror and the film itself, because I had two minds about it. I was like, do I take him down like a Chucky route, which would be near their idea, and their version of him, because they'd both be small, they might be talking, and he's just running around stabbing people, or do I take him in this other route where he's like big and menacing and like quite imposing, and he doesn't really talk much, and he's more of like a Michael Myers vibe. And yeah, for me, I was like, oh, that feels like the more sensible route. And if I make him like half man, then he can have hands. And if he's got hands, then, you know, you can have really cool scenes where, you know, they've got knives and they've got sledgehammers and they've got chains, rather than just slashing people with paws. So, yeah.
Well, I guess
no pushback. Yeah.
I guess organically, like just the fact that it's called Winnie the Pooh, in people's minds, they're going to associate with Disney, and Disney can't do a fucking thing about that. So, you know, that's to your benefit.
I do want to ask though, was there a point in the production process when you were kind of coming up with the characters, like, would you have them pantsless and like paper mache over the crotches? And because I don't think none of them had pants in the Disney.
No,
completely new.
I did suggest that to the actor who was playing Winnie the Pooh. I was like, you're not going to have any trousers or any boxers on. And you're going to be running around in the cold for 7 days.
Well, if you think about that makes Disney creepier, because they don't have pants.
Yeah, they don't have, they wouldn't wash anymore.
Yeah. Well, you said earlier on that you think, you know, the film has divided people, but look, I just want to say fuck the critics, because I feel like I completely understood what you were doing with this movie. Do you think there's a lot of people that have misunderstood it?
Yeah, definitely. Some people genuinely think that the film, like, because I want people to laugh at points. Like, it's supposed to be just fun and at points a bit satire-y. Like, there are literal scenes in there where you can tell I've been heavily inspired by like Halloween Kills, for example, with the mob scene where he's all getting beaten up. And I just thought it'd be funny to put Winnie the Pooh in that scenario, and then do my own take on it. And yeah, that's the reaction I kind of want. I want people there just to smile when they're watching it and laugh at it. But some people genuinely think, at moments, I like in the film, which were intended to be funny, that I was trying to be just dead serious, and you know, it was just like a poor choice from my side. But thankfully, a lot of the horror fans, which this film has been made for, they don't see that. Like, they see what the intention is. So
yeah. I think a lot of people going into it, like, and guilty as charged, kind of anticipate maybe like a fan film type of aesthetic, but the second that, you know, you realize that this is actually a real movie with a great production value, like, then, you know, it's sold right there. But talking of publicity, I think it's a stroke of genius for you to have cast Amber Doing Thorne in there, because she's got millions of followers on social media. Like, was that intentional?
So it actually wasn't. You know, like, casting and crewing this film was really, really hard, because everyone thought it was going to bomb. Like, honestly, we kind of work like a little bit of a rep company when we're producing, and we reuse a lot of the same people, because it's a bit like a family. Like, we all get on. But with this one idea, I was trying to get people on board with it, and I was like, you know, I really believe in it. This has potential, and they were just like, no. They were like, it's Winnie. You want to make like Winnie the Pooh, like a 6 foot Winnie the Pooh with a knife running around. They thought it was just gonna do terrible, and it would look really tacky on their CV and rubbish. So like I just couldn't get them. So I had to like broaden my horizons a bit and find other people who did like genuinely see the fun and the potential in the film. So that was actually the first time I'd worked with Amber, and yeah, I approached her with it, and then she was like, yeah. And then afterwards I realized, oh, she's actually got a big following. So it wasn't based on that.
Well, that definitely can't hurt, having her push it through her social media.
Yeah.
So I know that you have got movies like Bambi, The Reckoning, and Peter Pan's Nightmare Neverland in the works. Are you gonna stop there, or are you just gonna keep going?
No, like, I love doing this stuff, like all these retellings and coming up with all these crazy ideas and these, like, putting them in like all these ridiculous scenarios. When I was on the set for Pooh, it was honestly one of the funnest experiences of my life, and like the cast and the crew all absolutely loved it. So like nothing's gonna stop that now. Like, I'm just gonna keep going.
Well, I am so glad you said that. Let's crack my knuckles here. Can I suggest a few titles for you?
Yeah, definitely.
Because I want to see Anne of Green Gables' Carrot Top's Revenge. That would be good. That's public domain. I'd like to see the Secret Garden Shed Massacre, if I may. Maybe the Murderous Wizard of Oz, or Wind in the Willows Terror at Toad Hall. So feel free.
Yeah, like honestly, like those sort of ideas, you should see my phone on my notes. I've got like an endless list of these, and some of them are outside of my reach at the moment. Like on Twitter today, on Instagram today, I've got obsessed with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I really want to do them. Like I want to do a horror version of them. So I'm gonna try and see if I can get the rights, but I very much doubt it.
What a fantastic niche that you're carving for yourself. Because like, can you imagine down the road like a massive anthology box set with all of these like distorted, twisted fairy tales and fucking story? That'd be amazing.
Yeah, like, and I hope it's not just me either. Like, honestly, I get these are the kind of horror films which I get super excited about. So, you know, like I watch them when I see like the 10th installment of X, like the new Halloween, the new Scream. Like they do excite me, but I get really excited when it's something super new and something super wacky and just fun, like Five Nights at Freddy's. Like I'm like, that could be really cool. So I'm really excited to see that one, and I want more people to do these sort of films.
What was that other one, Ben, that I loved last year? Is it Benny? About the little red toy bear that goes around killing people with a knife? Can't remember. Benny's Revenge or something?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
that was...
we talked about it on the
Oh,
show.
I'll have to look that one up.
Fantastic. But what kind of movies sort of did you grow up with? What are the horror films that sort of, you know, got you into the genre in the first place?
The two which like really stand out, and this is just because they from just like pure horror, they terrified me. It was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it was the 2003 one. And the reason I don't know, for that one, I was in this mindset when I was younger where I was thinking, you know, Leatherface, I thought it was real because the ending of that film has, you know, they've got like a little reporter going down and they make it kind of feel like this is legit and this actually happened. So I thought, okay, Leatherface, he's going to go and get on a plane. He's going to come to the UK. He's going to come to my street. You know what I mean? He's going to burst into my room and just chainsaw me apart. So I was like terrified. Like, yeah, I was terrified when I saw that one. And Chucky was like, even though I can look at him now and I watch his films and they've just got this like fun, like silly energy. As a kid, he scared the shit out of me. And my mum had all these like porcelain dolls, and I had to kill them all. Like I had to break everyone.
That's amazing. That's a really great idea for a horror film, though. Like a Leatherface coming to the UK, like that, because it's totally like that kind of Peter and the Wolf type thing, where you know no one believes you. Like no one believes the kid that you know it's like it's not real. Like he's in America. How could he ever come here? And the whole that'd be great.
Do you think he could get on the plane though? Undetected.
He gets in the baggage carrier,
or he does a Jason and just hops on a ship in Vancouver and sort of destroys the entire crew. Just before we let you go, I want to sort of run through some movies that you've produced, because you have produced a lot of movies, and there are titles like The Legend of Jack and Jill, Spiders in the Attic, Fire NATO, Wrath of Van Helsing, and The Curse of Jack Frost. Like, I think it's safe to say that you speak our language, mate. On the show that we host, they're the type of movies we gravitate towards.
Oh, good, yeah. Those ones, they were kind of like, we were going for like a lot of volume when we made them. So, and they were like early on. But now we're kind of like, I'm a bit more into my kind of filmmaking career now. So I'm going to do more and more like this, but they're going to be kind of bigger productions and better ones. So yeah, like kind of watch our space, because there'll be loads of crazy stuff coming.
That's exciting. And the reason I just named those is because for people like me that weren't aware of you before this movie, it's nice to go and do a bit of a deep dive into stuff that you've done to sort of see where you've come from. And it's led to Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. It's a fantastic movie, and I implore everybody to watch it and go with it. Like, make sure you're in the right frame of mind before you watch it. But thanks so much.
Another one. We produced another one recently, which kind of came out, called The Killing Tree, and that's worth checking out, because it's kind of like, I don't know if you've seen like Tree Venge, or like someone showed me that recently, but it's about a Christmas tree which comes to life and starts killing everyone. So it's intended to be like in the same kind of just fun and light-hearted like manner or tone. But yeah,
See-
I'd recommend that one.
We really, really do speak the same language because the first short film I made was about VHS tapes that came alive and killed people.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us. It's been a pleasure, and we love the movie, mate.
Oh, thanks so much. Cheers, guys.
Welcome to Bonehead Weekly Fun Size, and we're talking about imaginary friends. See, Chad, James, and I have no friends, and you say, well, you've got each other, but we don't.
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 Well, and actually, what you all don't know is one of us isn't even real.
No, and you don't know which one in Australia because you're not going to spend the money on a plane ticket to come over here and find out because that's a long way for a beat down, isn't it, James?
This is actually a product. One of us is actually a product of your own psychosis.
So think about that. I'm going to go first. The best imaginary friend movie made in the last 16 decades is, you've guessed it, Jojo Rabbit. Came out in 2019.
Knew that was going to be your pick.
What'd you say?
Knew that was going to be your pick.
Well, it's the best. It is my favorite one. The second would have been Castaway. Christine Lunen's 2008 book, Caging Skies. I ought to go read the book. I'm curious to see how close it is to the book. I mean, Taika Waititi is a national treasure. I mean, he's not our national treasure, but he is a national treasure. And Jojo Rabbit's probably his best film. It's the most depressing, but yet uplifting, funny, but yet heartbreaking. It has it all. I fell asleep once during it, sitting next to Chad in an extremely warm theater the day after the American Thanksgiving. But it had nothing to do with the movie as much as I was just next to Chad in his mud. And the warmth put me to slumber.
Still, the twist towards the end of the movie still just floored me. Yeah, with the shoes, it still floored me. Like I was devastated.
It's a heartbreaking, wonderful movie. Next, Chad.
I am going to go with the most obvious one, and it's one of those movies where me and Joe clash quite a bit on our movie taste, and I don't understand his hatred for Drop Dead Fred.
Because it's annoying.
I agree
find
with
him
that at all.
extremely annoying. He is slightly above, and I love Bill Paxton, but he is slightly above Bill Paxton's character from Predator 2 of being one of the most annoying movie characters of all time.
I do not agree with that at all. I'm probably going to butcher his name, but Rick Mayall. I love him as Drop Dead Fred. It was one of the most enjoyable movie experiences I had in a while at that time when I was 11 years old. So it was directed by Ape De Jong, who also helped direct Highway to Hell, which was shocking. They did this back to back. So if you don't familiar with Drop Dead Fred, which if you're our age, I don't see how you could not be. It's about a woman who has a lot of problems and her imaginary friend from her childhood who she had to wipe out of her existence comes back and basically wreaks ever-loving hell on her life in all kinds of ways. I just love this movie from beginning to end. I'll never, that and Goonies, Joe. I just don't understand it.
Well, I liked Goonies as a kid. I didn't even like Drop Dead Fred as a kid.
I just don't know about you. And Willow. Anyway, James, go.
I dated a lady who loved Drop Dead Fred. Nah.
I'm sorry I wore the wig that one time. Differences?
Yeah, she saw herself with a nice young looking man, and I saw myself as not a nice young looking man.
Well, gentlemen, I like my imaginary friends to help guide the story and push people forward. And with that in mind, it's actually not what I originally thought of. But as I heard you all talk, I thought, I need somebody to guide me through my life as I take a road trip for vengeance. And who better than Elvis Presley? True Romance.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The imaginary Elvis Presley guiding the story. How can you... there were a couple I was thinking about. It wasn't what I was going to go with when I pitched this as a short, or as a whatever we call these.
Fun size.
Those. But as I was sitting here, I'm like, how can I not talk about imaginary Elvis Presley guiding Clarence, aka Christian Slater, on his quest to take down the ex-pimp who controlled his wife and whatnot. It doesn't matter. It's Elvis. Elvis is one of the top imaginary friends you could have. He's the Kang.
The Kang. That's it. Well, this has been Bonehead Weekly Fun Size. Please send all your hate mail to Ben. No, I'm joking. Send it to Glenn. Ben is a national treasure.
I don't know. Ben recently, well, not recently, as the time of this, was wishing one of us dead.
Which one?
Was it me? Was it the
No,
imaginary one of us?
he just wanted one of us to die. He was placing bets.
Oh,
That's
was
totally,
that the-
that's totally
what-
not how this story went. But I'm trying to make everybody. I'm not trying to make you all be mean to Ben.
oh, all right. Well, toodles.
I hope it's not the imaginary one of us.
Thank you, Boneheads. And I think, are we done with the booth here? We've got a tipple left.
There's a tipple left.
All right, maybe we'll finish it off before the show ends. But thank you, Boneheads. Still trying to get my head around the fact that Joe doesn't like Drop Dead Fred. Like, come on.
Really?
Come on.
Wow.
I'm just glad Ben's not here to have this conversation because he would be outraged.
Yeah. I can feel it, the seething coming from over there.
I guess Americans didn't grow up with Rick Mayall the way we did. You know, young ones, bottom, filthy rich and cat flap. Anyway, I won't hold it against Joe. Go and add Bonehead Weekly to your podcast lineup. You know where to find it anywhere you get podcasts. And if you you like the sound of their voices, you can check out their faces on YouTube. They do a video version of the show as well. Time to recommend some movies though, Melsy. Lately,
yes.
I'm going to go first, by the way.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I find it's easier to go first. You go second.
No.
I wrap it up.
I'm very happy with that.
And I've been attracted lately to a lot of, I guess, early 2000s comedies.
Okay.
And not necessarily great comedies.
Yeah.
Just fun. Like last week, my recommendation was Ready to Rumble with David Arquette. Like, it's a good one. But this week, I went with a 2001 comedy called Bubble Boy. Do you remember
yes,
Bubble Boy?
I do.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yes.
Before he blew up into Donnie Darko and then went to the A-list. But this is the movie that got him the role as Donnie Darko. And I believe this movie, before I tell you anything about it, the original script of this was very, very dark, similar to Donnie Darko. Turned out to just be like a really stupid teeny rom-com road movie, but I love it.
Yeah.
Super fun, super quirky. And it's about a teenager with like a shit-house immune system, and he's lived his whole life in a bubble. It's a piss take on The Boy in the Plastic Bubble with John Travolta. And he finds the girl of his dreams, and she ends up going off to get married to Dave Sheridan, of all people, who, you want to tie it into Scream, he played Doofy in Scary Movie.
Yes, that's right.
And this movie, like, his performance in
Officer Doofy.
Bubble Boy is like the redneck. The studio, whichever one it was, predicted he was going to be the next Jim Carrey. So they wrote him a movie called Frank McCluskey CI. And the poster was exactly Ace Ventura. He looked at, had Dolly Parton and Randy Quaid as his parents, and it was like a turd of a movie. It did nothing, and there goes his career. So now Dave Sheridan is like popping up at conventions as, you know, Doofy.
Doofy,
which was a great character.
I mean, it was.
Didn't he shit his pants? Like,
yeah, he did. Yeah.
So he's a whole lot of fun in this one, but Jake Gyllenhaal particularly is heaps of fun.
Yeah.
It's a one-joke movie, a boy in a bubble,
Yeah.
and he designs his own portable bubble so he can road trip. And he ends up hitching a ride with Danny Trejo, and you know, just shit ensues. He meets up with a freak show along the way, a carnival freak show, which is Mini-Me as the leader of that. And then all these freaks that you couldn't get away with these days. Like, they're so culturally insensitive
so true.
or minority insensitive.
Yeah.
But goddamn, it's funny.
Yeah.
And the movie, I'm watching it, I'm going, why does this remind me of something? And I couldn't think of it until it just clicked. Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah.
Because he road trips and meets all of the carny and all the funny people on the way. Very similar movie.
That's so true.
I remember, and I read up on it just to make sure I was correct. In
Yeah.
my memory. It was controversial at the time.
Yeah.
Because all the groups came out about the way that this medical condition was being made as a punchline for a joke.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, how many bubble boys are there really?
I mean,
we can't change culture to please them.
well, you know, I mean, most comedy is, you know, it's born out of something that's probably kind of insensitive to somebody.
I'm all about protecting minorities, but look, we've got to make fun of. You know, we've got to make fun of something. Look, you know, I think the idea, because here's what I think. Right, I'm also drunk right now. I realize halfway through this that I'm drunk. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think it's making fun of that particular. What do you call it? Disability.
Condition.
Yeah, because they don't actually live in bubbles, right? I think it's making fun of that concept of a bubble.
Yeah.
Because in the movie, he's in a bubble.
And there are any number of things that could lead you into living life in a bubble. Not just that. It's just,
metaphorically
speaking.
Well, and what I found really funny about this, having read up on it too, is that in the movie, because he's in a bubble, he falls over all the time and rolls over.
Yeah.
And I was reading that they were actually bloopers that
Yeah.
they left in the movie because he couldn't stand up in the bubble. So every time he tried to run, he'd trip over. And because the bubble was more solid than it's supposed to be, he'd roll.
Well, and that brings up, like, how many people are actually living in a bubble?
See, exactly.
Like,
Exactly. So why...
it is. It's about that, like,
concept.
Yeah, and the physical humor in that, and
yeah, because none of them actually leave the house in a bubble.
no, like
Unless
I
you're
can't
the
imagine
good
there's
witch Glinda,
that
she lives
many.
in a bubble.
Yes, that's true. But I can't imagine that there's that many people living in a bubble.
You know, we're going to get the Bubble Society right into
we
us,
probably
and say, well, I'll have
yeah.
you know, there are
Yeah.
lots of bubble people out there.
And there may be just some that just like living in a bubble,
Well,
like
we just don't want to pop
like
the bubble, do we?
like fairies and stuff like that, like bubblies.
Well, you know, I identify as a furry, so how dare you? I don't have a bubble though.
Well, you can't be offended then.
What? Okay, I'm not. Should we move on to yours? I just reckon it's on Disney Plus. Go and watch Bubble Boy.
no.
It is a movie that's sort of it's outgrown, well, not outgrown. Society's outgrown it, and it's a nice one. To
Not
go.
us though. Clearly,
No,
we haven't outgrown much.
Anyone
obviously,
that's listened to the show knows I've not outgrown anything from the 90s.
just my clothes.
No,
I still wear mine. I wore my Jebediah t-shirt on New Year's Eve from yeah.
I've got clothes.
Signed
from,
Jebediah t-shirt from
high school.
Yeah, from high school.
In fact, I probably have the clothes I wore to Bubble Boy the first time. Let's move on to yours. It's a safer way to go. These are recommendations, by the way, people. So I'd like some of you to watch these movies and comment on our social media about them. Because anyway.
Not too much abuse about that one though.
Fuck them.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had my weekly night to myself on Wednesday night, and so I did the old, what am I going to watch tonight? And so I went on to the...
Hang on, that's the first thing you think of on a night to yourself? I masturbate.
I'd gone for my 12K run. So I was like, okay, what am I going to watch? And well, I mean, it was a Wednesday night ahead of having to record, so I had pressing things at hand.
Pressing things with hand. We need to not to.
Okay.
Hang on. Every time you're on the show, we get drunk.
No, we were very well behaved last time because I turned and you were like, "Oh, I have to start the year on a." And I was like, "Yeah, that's so fair." I'm like, "Yeah, me too." Actually,
proven why that was a wise
yeah,
choice.
it was absolutely a wise choice.
All right.
Okay.
Jesus.
All right. So I was like, "Okay, so what am I going to watch?" And then I was like, oh, actually, I remember that my star sign was recommended to watch something recently and that I had some interest in anyway.
Did you watch Zodiac?
No, but do you...
Well, it's star signs, isn't it?
Oh, but speaking of Zodiac,
yeah,
my brother and I saw the preview or the... test audience. We were in the test audience for Zodiac.
It's
in LA.
terrifying film to me.
My brother is he's a very generous person that doesn't have anything to be generous with, and he wasn't even, he was like 16 or something at the time, and I took him to...
So he's a kind soul is what you're saying?
America. He is very kind. Yeah. And a homeless person someone was asking for money or whatever, and because of being from Australia and not being so great with like money and all that sort of thing, he'd just been collecting just giving over massive notes for, and just being like whatever, whereas I'd be like trying to figure out, to get not so many coins back or whatever. He had like in that week or whatever that
baggy
we were
pants.
There, he did, yeah. He was just like being weighed down by these.
So
he's like got a limp. He's like walking around about to get in a bubble.
Now they know he has money because they can hear him coming.
Yeah, exactly. And he was like, yeah, mate, like gave him like a fucking handful of whatever. And the guy was like, oh, thank you so much. Oh, and gave us these bloody passes to, and this is why you should be nice, people. I haven't really been nice ever since,
And
but he gave us these passes to be in the test audience.
How did he have those?
I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, so we went to, and we were staying in a hostel in Hollywood.
That's some subversive marketing right there.
And so at whatever time it was that afternoon, like we went and lined up, and then the people came along the thing saying, "What do you do for a living?" And I think I was a flight attendant at the time, hence why we were able to fly to America. Hence why I haven't done that since in the last 5 years since I gave up that career. But anyway, but I was like, I'm studying film, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, off you come to the front of the line. And yeah, we were in the test audience.
2 scenes in that movie scare the shit out of me.
Yeah.
The first one with the murder on the hill.
Oh.
Which apparently was shot to the letter.
Yeah.
And the other one was when forgotten his name, should know it. The guy that played Roger Rabbit. Anyway, William Fleischer or whatever.
Yeah.
Charles Fleischer.
Yes,
took him
Charles
into the
Fleischer,
basement.
Yeah.
And you don't know if he's a killer or not.
Yes.
And Jake Gyllenhaal's like, I need to get out of here. And we're talking about Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal, I know. Exactly. He's not in a bubble this
I'm
time.
going to stop interrupting. Go.
It's and I must say, I think that when we saw it, they said that the music that was in it wasn't, or the soundtrack wasn't finalized or whatever. But then when we saw it come out, we couldn't see any difference with it. That was, and I think obviously everybody was, it absolutely worked. But anyway,
so what
back to my recommendation.
What Jake Gyllenhaal movie do you have? Better not be Velvet Buzzsaw or whatever the fuck that was.
So I went on to Netflix and Watcher. Have you seen that? 2022's Watcher. Not The Watcher, the limited series, but Watcher.
And not the Keanu Reeves one?
No.
Okay, no, I haven't.
No, you haven't.
No.
Okay, so it's Micah Monroe.
Right, yep.
Yep, and she is the lead by it's a very solitary sort of film. She moves to Bucharest with her husband, who is originally from there. They move into an apartment. She can't speak any of the language. He's always interpreting for her, but then he goes to work all the time, and he's like schmoozing with clients and people that he knows and everything, and she's stuck in this apartment by herself. A little bit rear window, she starts seeing this person, or this silhouette of a person in an apartment.
I like it already.
Across the street, always staring.
Yeah. Watcher.
Yeah. Watcher. I did love in the first. Actually, in the title sequence that they get into the apartment, start having sex on the couch, and it's like, yeah, you need to have blinds, and that's pretty much what most of the movie comes down to. You need to have blinds, people. So that's my apart from go and watch this movie, have blinds.
The sequel's called Installation.
So Carl Glusman, I think, Glusman plays her husband, and then there's a chick that lives next door who she ends up sparking up a relationship with. It's a massive slow burn.
Yep.
And it is directed by Chloe Okuno,
who made a movie called Slut.
And I watched that this afternoon.
I'm down.
Yeah. So I watched that this afternoon, and she's an incredible filmmaker.
I'm looking at the poster for Slut.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's got Sally Kirkland in it. There you go. Oh, yeah. It's like it's very slasher.
So that's an 18-minute short from 2014.
Yeah.
And she also did. I haven't seen VHS 94, but she also did
one of the segments.
Yeah, did one of the segments. The story-wise, there's not that much to Watcher, but it's shot beautifully.
Yeah.
You care about the characters. There's the husband's not listening to the wife. There's a bit of
It's one of the things I really dig about Netflix because there's a lot of pros and cons to Netflix and the kind of content they put out. But I love it when they put these movies out, which let's face it, won't go to the cinema anymore. But
did well at a festival and then came out very limited release.
We just don't live in a world where those sort of movies make it to the big screen, and so they pick up these really weird, subversive little films, like the one with Megan Fox. recently.
yeah,
Till Death.
Till Death, yeah.
Whoa.
I loved that.
Blew me away.
Loved that.
Yeah, but like back in the 90s, I would have gone to the movies to watch that. You know? So
totally. Yeah,
when-
it's kind of, I mean, not similar at all,
Yeah.
but like similar in the, a slow burn and being like one character, like main character, and her interactions within her trauma, like turmoil, what she's going through. Great. It's awesome.
I'm going to watch it.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
And the short is awesome as well, and that's just on YouTube.
Awesome. I will definitely. I mean, slut.
Yeah.
Yeah. That brings us to the end of the show. We're done. Thanks so much for hanging out.
No worries. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You've been loud the whole time and now you just go quiet?
I know. I always do that at the end, actually. I get a bit weird. Like,
You have to
like,
leave- you have to leave
like,
dignified.
but like, yes, exactly. My pleasure. My
been a
pleasure.
pleasure, No, thank you for hanging out.
Everybody will forget everything else that I've said during the episode if I'm like all quiet and nice at the end.
I know that you were scheduled to be here anyway on this episode, but once again, you've happened to fill in for Ben while he's away. Like, he tends to go away when you're supposed to be here. What does that say to you?
I know.
And also, you've travelled a long way to be here, so I really appreciate that. We won't talk about that. Thanks to our players, Ben, of course, and Jarrett. Hoping they're having fun over there in New Zealand.
Fuck them. No. Fuck off.
Yeah, well, that's what I really think.
Oh, my God. No, I'm joking. But, geez, I'm a bit jealous, though.
Me too. But they are working hard. Like, I think they've done 2 16-day working.
Yeah,
stints
but
in a
I'm jealous
row.
of that too. I love.
You love
I love it.
working?
No, I love a working trip.
That's true. And
I was a flight attendant
hey,
for 12 years. Hello.
They're also working in the film industry.
Exactly.
So,
I was a flight attendant for 12 years, and not getting to do film stuff.
Well, yes.
Nah,
Well,
love it. They deserve it.
Kudos also to the Boneheads from the Bonehead Weekly Podcast, Joe, Chad, and James. You can find their podcast wherever you find podcasts. Don't forget to visit our website, goodmoviemonday.com. Go and check that out. And support us. Always support us and drop us some comments. Like, believe it or not, comments you leave us that are, good enough will make it into the show. It helps shape the show. So
absolutely
suggest some things that you'd like us to talk about. I'll be back on Wednesday night with Chloe for another Wednesday Up Late podcast. But otherwise, we'll see you all again next week. Here's another song to take you out. And ciao.
Bye.